Hello and welcome to Quarrelsome Rhinoceros Stitches, episode number 41. My name is Monica, I'm the host. I am coming to you from Bangor, Maine, where I live. And it's been a while since I podcasted. This is a knitting podcast. Primarily knitting. I do crochet as well as sew and a bunch of other fiber crafting. So this is where I talk about my fiber crafting journey, and I hope you come along with me, enjoy this crazy adventure of mine. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming back if you are returning, and thanks so much for checking out my podcast if you are new here. I don't upload very often, but when I do, I always have quite a lot to share because I don't post often. Funny how that works. I am also a student, so I spend a lot of my time doing schoolwork rather than knitting these days, but I still do have quite a few finished objects to share, a few works in progress, and hopefully you'll enjoy taking a look into my knitting bags this episode. It is currently September the 23rd, I believe. September, yeah. It's Wednesday, September 23rd. This should be going up in the next couple of days. I am headed to Florida for two of my friends are getting married, and I am headed to Florida to spend some time with them for about 3 weeks. And theoretically, I might have a little extra video to upload here and there while I'm down there. I may do a couple of vlogs, but we'll see. So, I am going to start off today by sharing what I'm wearing. I have four finished objects. I've got 3 works in progress, and I will share a little bit of a life update, not too terribly long because I haven't been doing too terribly much. I hope that you are well. I hope that the overwhelming ennui that all of us are feeling because of this crazy pandemic is not quite getting to you yet. And I hope that if it is, that crafting and spending a little bit of time doing something you love is helping you get through those days. It is a very weird time out there, and I hope that we can all get through it together. Anyway, let's start with what I am wearing. This particular finished object I shared not that long ago. It is my Spring Fling shawl. It is a free pattern. I will put a link in my show notes. This is a free pattern that uses fingering weight yarn. You could probably use any weight of yarn, honestly. Just change your hook size. It is crochet. But it's a nice sort of granny square-esque shawl. I made this with Malabrigo sock. I don't know the name of the colorway. It took almost the whole ball, but I did save a little bit of extra so that I could put it in my blanket, which I'm not sharing because I haven't made any progress on. But yeah, so this is a recent finished object. It is not quite cold enough here to wear full-on shawls yet, but when I get back from Florida, it is all about shawls. So next I'm going to talk about some finished objects. So I have a couple to share. 2 of them are test knits. So I will actually, or test patterns. So I'm going to share those first, and then I'm going to share something pretty cool with you guys that I have been working on behind the scenes over here, and it's been bringing me some amazing joy while I have been in lockdown here. So the first thing I'm going to share is called the Monroe Avenue hat. It is a new pattern that I found on Yarn Pond to test knit. And so here is the hat. If you have ever made a sock, the heel is a knit one, slip one, repeat, and that is exactly what you've got here. It creates a wonderful sort of dimension on this fabric that I really enjoy. I blocked it kind of funny, so it's kind of pointed over here, but oh well. When I reblock it, those points will go away. So here is the hat. I knit the size medium. It does say for a 22-inch, it's for a 22-inch circumference, finished circumference. Mine turned out to be about 18 inches unstretched. It does stretch to fit my head, which is also 22-inch circumference. So, there's that. I love that the decreases are worked in pattern with that. It is a very simple hat pattern to follow. I'm really looking forward to wearing this in the winter because I seem to lose every single hat that I ever make for myself. So I have one hat that I still have that I made, but I keep losing hats that I make myself. So hopefully I won't lose this one. But yeah, so this is Plymouth Yarn Company in the Galway line. It is a worsted weight. It's called a slate. The colorway is called Slate. I don't know if you can tell, but there are some really pretty pops of like really light blue and really, really, really soft purple mixed in with this gray. It almost looks like it was blue and purple to begin with and then over dyed gray, but I could be wrong. Maybe they just did a speckle. Either way, this is really beautiful. I do have some left, which means I might be able to use it for another hat, that idea that I have. So, very recently, so this other hat idea, it's not a hat idea, it's not my idea. The other day, not that long ago, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, and it is horrible. She is one of my personal heroes, and although I knew it was coming, I still wasn't really prepared. So it's been a pretty emotional weekend after that announcement was made. And not that long ago, I believe Andrea Rangley, I believe is her last name, has released in the past a sweater, both a cardigan and a pullover sweater that is, the color work on it is modeled after Ruth Bader Ginsburg's Dissent collar. It's one of the most iconic things about RBG. But she just released a pattern that is a hat pattern. So I may use that, the leftovers of this, to make that hat. I'm not sure what other color I'll put with it, but I do have quite a bit in my stash that I can choose from. So hopefully I'll get that on the needles here pretty quick so that I can have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspired hat. I may also save up and get some yarn to make the sweater as well. But more on that later. The next pattern I am going to show you is a pattern by Chelsea of Knitting Tipsy, I believe. Anyway, this is called the Skimpy Stitch Bikini. Wow. Words are not happening today. It is not a good day to do podcasting, apparently. So this is the Skimpy Stitch Bikini. I was lucky enough to test this pattern for Chelsea, and I absolutely love it. Now this bikini is a thong bikini. It is, as the title may suggest, fairly skimpy. So she is releasing the pattern soon. If you don't want a thong bikini, Chelsea also made a pattern called it's like the Simple Stitch bikini as well, that is also a great pattern. I will personally be knitting or crocheting that one next. The thing that I really, really like about Chelsea's pattern is that it is size inclusive. That is one of the things I look for in all of my patterns now. I've decided that I won't be knitting any more patterns that don't include sizing for my size. I don't want to be giving my money to designers who don't design things for my size, and then I have to do my own math to figure out. Just because I can do it doesn't mean I want to support that kind of behavior of not being size inclusive. Anyway, so I found this test knit through Fat Test Knits on Instagram, and I absolutely love the finished object. I will be posting photos of myself in this bikini after I take some finished object photos, which I have not yet. I can put up a picture, a flat lay of this bikini on the screen for you now, but I will show you the bikini now. So here is the front of the bikini. This yarn I have had it in deep stash and I got it from a friend, or I didn't know what actual yarn it was until the wonderful ladies in the test group told me. It is called Cozy Toes. I believe it's available at Hobby Lobby, but again, I didn't purchase it. I don't shop at Hobby Lobby. So, for moral and personal reasons, I don't shop there. So I'm not really sure if this actually did come from there or what the colorway is. I just knew that I loved the colors and I needed to crochet something out of them. This sort of fits in my nerdy goth aesthetic of I love the 80s kind of vibe to it. So here's the bottoms, and there is the back, and the front I have modified a little bit. So when she had us test it, she had us test the pattern as written. I didn't feel like these front panels had enough coverage for my personal tastes. So instead I went back and I put in a double crochet border. So originally it was a single crochet border. I put in a double crochet border. I was tempted to do a second round of the double crochet border, but I was fine with how it covered with just the single row. But yeah, so it's double crochet on this part. It is single crochet border on the rest of it, just because that's what is specified in the pattern, and I didn't feel like the back needed any more extra coverage anyway. So yeah, so I did as recommended in the pattern, I believe. So my hip measurement fell in between two sizes. So I crocheted the size up from the one I normally would. So I believe this was meant to be a 52 or a 54 inch hip. My hip size is 50 inches. So, but I did the recommended number of chains for the side ties on the bottoms. The only thing that I modified in the rest of this pattern was the number of chains you do for the waist strap for the top. The cups are measured on your own bust, so you are measuring from your nipple to the underside of your breast, and creating the foundation chain for that so that you can use your own measurements in order to create a cup that is going to fit for you, and you can keep going as long as you want to get the kind of coverage you want. Now, as someone with a very large bust size, I find it very difficult to find patterns that I actually like how they look on my actual breasts. This one is great. I love it. As you can see, I've made them fairly large, and I feel that they cover me adequately. Now, the top strap here has I believe it was 100 chains in it, and the recommended size for the waist strap was about 250. Now, I ended up doing about 325 because I felt like 250 just wasn't a good number for myself. I believe that that I probably could have done fewer than 325, but I think that it works for this purpose. So the only thing I will say is that my bikini is not meant to be worn in the water. I likely won't ever wear this outside, but it is quite fun to just walk around the house in it. So I absolutely loved this project. I loved the ladies that we got together in our Instagram group chatting about the pattern, and I had such an amazing experience with this. I cannot wait for the next pattern that Chelsea designs so that I can help her test that one too. I absolutely loved this pattern. It was fantastic. It was very, very fun to knit, or sorry, crochet. And yeah, I will hopefully be getting some cool finished object photos of this when I go to where it is warmer, so that I can actually get, you know, skimpy, because it is currently too cold. Not warm enough, not cold enough to wear a big shawl, but too cold for a bikini. That is for certain. Now, both of those were test knits. Or test crochet, test knit. I do have another test knit as a work in progress, and we'll get to that when I get to my works in progress. But I've been doing too many test knits that, yeah, too many test knits. But I needed something to knit that was quick, that busted out some stash. I'm doing pretty well on this stash. I did take out some yarn here to pack to bring with me to Florida, because I have finally found what pattern I'm going to use for the green and brown yarn that I had that I wanted to do color work with. And I'm going to save that as a secret for now. We'll see when it gets closer, when I swatch it, or maybe the next episode that I record, I will let you know what I'm gonna do about that. But I have to swatch for it, and I have to buy the patterns. So I haven't done it yet, so I'm not gonna share it until I'm actually doing it. Because I've talked about that green yarn before. I was going to make it into a telegram pattern, and then I just didn't feel like I wanted to start that kind of project right now, that all over sort of texture pattern. I think I want something a little bit more mindless, and the telegram will come at some point because it is a wonderful pattern. But on to more crochet, because I've become slightly obsessed. Now, I'm going to put a picture up here of something that I created about 6 or 7 years ago that I called the Gentleman Octopi, or Octopus, I guess. This was one of the things that I was going to make a ton of and bring to a craft fair, and but the idea for it wasn't fully realized. And now I think I have gotten a better design for them, and I have started making them again. Now, I've come up with this pattern all by myself, without the help of without the help of an existing pattern. I have seen something fairly similar to this, but I enjoyed sort of recreating my own version, and I haven't decided fully on the name yet. It looks like the name that I wanted to go with is already taken by someone, but they haven't posted in about 10 years. So I'm thinking that I might take it anyway. Anyway, we'll see when it gets there. But so you've seen the original version. I have created new versions. Now, this one is the first one that I made. These are going to be wedding gifts for the friends in Florida that I have, that I'm going down to visit. So yeah, anyway, so this is a Cephalo-pal. She is knit or crocheted out of cotton yarn, as I make all of my soft toys are always out of cotton yarn. It tends to hold its shape better for longer than acrylic. Most acrylics will stretch out, and you'll be able to see the insides a little bit better, and I don't really like that. So I tend to use cotton. This Cephalo-pal starts up here, you crochet all the way down here, and then you crochet 8 separate legs and sew them on, and then the belly piece is also separate. I have decided, so my Cephalo-pals are going to be, I'll have 3 different types of Cephalo-pals. So my first type is my lady Cephalo-pal, who has a cute little flower on her head. I may end up making like a little white necklace or something to go around here, but not for my friend. This is how the female Cephalo-pals will look. I also have my second one is my male Cephalo-pal. So he will have a hat. This hat is very special. It is not going to look like this on the finished octopus, octopi, cephalopods. The finished cephalopods are going to have a top hat. This is a special hat. It is a newsboy cap. It is the same hat that my friend, who will be receiving this guy in about a week, he wears one all the time. And then there is a mustache and beard on this cephalopal. He has the same bottom or belly as the other one, and is constructed in the same way. I usually will be only adding the mustache, just like the first image that I showed you. It'll have a top hat and a little mustache, and that will be our gentleman octopus, our gentleman cephalopod. And then I plan on having non-binary cephalopods as well, which can be made with a combination of those things, either a flower and a mustache, or maybe a top hat and a flower, or whatever your heart desires. So obviously I don't want to be exclusionary with this. I would like to try and include as many as people as possible in my cephalopal journey. I'm hopefully going to be able to start making sort of stock standard cephalopals. I'll make and do sort of a shop update. I will be selling these cephalopals in the future, but I need to figure out on what platform I am going to be selling them. So keep your eyes out for that. I will post more updates when it becomes relevant. Hopefully I will be able to get an account set up for the cephalopals. Each cephalopal is going to come with a little card that gives you its favorite things and a scientific name for your cephalopal. Anyway, that is all in the works. These are just sort of the prototypes so that I could get the pattern figured out and written down. Except I still have to write it down because I haven't done that yet. Oops. Anyway, I will be doing that in the next couple of months. It'll depend on school, of course, but yeah. So there is my little cephalopal. I will absolutely be sharing some, sharing more as I make them, so that I can have sort of a stock of cephalopals. But yeah. So there is that. I'll give you another shot of this other little one. I'm gonna just do this for my thumbnail. So yeah, so those are the cephalopals. I'm really enjoying creating them and coming up with color combinations and things like that. So I'm pretty excited about making some more. That probably won't happen until I'm back from Florida. All right, those are all of my finished objects. I believe those are the only finished objects that I have. I haven't really been working on too much lately, but other than those, but all of those are like small, quick projects. I haven't really finished any big projects or anything that's on my list to finish yet. I did, however, undo the design that I was working on, my own design that I was working on. The Black Lake lace, which I had changed to the rockweed wrap, I was really, really hating knitting it. So I decided that it would be better if I pull it out and rethink the idea rather than continue working on something that made me angry and really hate knitting. Because if I hate knitting it, everybody else is going to hate knitting it. So I will rethink how I want to shape that shawl, and hopefully I'll be able to come up with something that I really like rather than something that I'm just kind of living with because it's what I designed years ago. So all of the work that I've put into it has been frogged. All of the work that I've put into it, and also my tech editor put into it, is now it'll be different. I will release the pattern, but it will be different. So I just have to keep working on it. I'm not really sure where I even put the yarn for now. it's in timeout. And the reason I signed up for all of these test knits was because I needed something sort of a palette cleanser, something to get excited about. So speaking of test knits, this will be my last test knit for a while. I am working on finishing it up now. It is a baby sweater. Now, before you start making rumors happen, my husband and I are not planning on having kids for quite a while. So, so I am not pregnant. I am just knitting a baby sweater as a test. I will probably be gifting this to a friend of mine in Florida, again, who had a baby in July. So yeah, anyway, so this is a baby sweater. It is called the Beckett Ridge sweater, I believe, or cardigan, maybe. It is very cute, all over cable pattern sweater. It is knit from the bottom up, and then you separate for the sleeves, and you do back and front panels separately and seam the shoulders. I'm currently working on the sleeves. As soon as the sleeves are finished, I have a button band, and then I am done with this baby. This is the 12-month size. I am really enjoying this cable pattern, although I am doing it wrong. Don't look too closely at it because this is not actually what the cable pattern will look like in the real finished object. I misread the pattern, which is stupid for a test knitter to do. But I misread the location, not the location, but the orientation, I guess, of the cable pattern. So one is supposed to go one way, one is supposed to go the other way, and they're supposed to be alternating. I just made them all one way, and I think it's fine for my test knitting situation though, because I'm still testing the size of this sweater. I still got gauge, and it is not like one direction of cable is going to make it an invalid test for this sweater. So I still have to contact the designer and tell them that I messed it up, but you know. Anyway, when I am finished with this, I will likely wash this 2 or 3 different times. I'm knitting this with Cascade 220. So it is a little bit like, it's a hardy kind of a yarn. But what I was finding with the first ball, this is only the second ball of yarn that I've used for this project. When I was knitting with the first ball, I was getting a little bit of dye on my fingers, so hopefully with a good wash, I'll be able to get that to stop happening, because this little baby doesn't need to get dye on his little body. I don't know if this little baby is going to have any need to wear a big, thick sweater, but it's always nice to receive handmade gifts anyway, and I'm hoping that that they will appreciate it. But yeah, so there is the Beckett Ridge cardigan, I believe. It will be released on Ravelry as far as I know. I am not currently using Ravelry. I have made project pages for the test knits that I'm doing, but I'm also going to be releasing test knit information from on my Instagram page. So I'm not going to be just putting all of my information on Ravelry and nowhere else. I am starting to move away from using Ravelry, but these test knits, they wanted me to create a Ravelry project page, so I did. And I'll probably make one for the bikini as well, even though Chelsea didn't state that she wanted us or needed us to make one. I'm still going to do it just so that, yeah, so that it's complete, basically. So yeah, there is the pattern. I really do like the all over texture pattern of this sweater. I also love that it is worsted weight yarn because it is a quick knit. I finished the body and the back and front pieces in about a day, 2 days. So hopefully the sleeves will go quickly enough. I find sleeves to be very boring, and there isn't a whole lot of shaping on these ones. So anyway, so that is that pattern. that will have to be done before Saturday. Either that or I will finish it on the plane on the way down to Florida and wash it when I get there. Another project that I will probably be bringing with me to Florida is the Cephalo-what pattern by Roja Knits. So Roja Knits did her first mystery knit along. I'm still only on clue 2, clue 4, and the rest of the pattern has been released now, so you can find that on Ravelry. I believe she does release all of her patterns on Payhip now as well, if you're not using Ravelry. And so I'm still working on clue 2, and I haven't seen a finished object photo of this yet, so I'm still in the mystery area. Maybe not quite a full mystery, but yeah, hopefully I'll be able to finish it before I get any, like, spoilers. So this is how it looks so far. So here is the first section here with these eyelets, and then it ends right here at the end of this sort of garter ridge section. Now section 2 is these pointed eyelets. Anyway, each section of the pattern is after a different element of the land. There is a whole story about it. I will let you go read it from her page rather than me sort of messing it up here. It is a wonderful story though, and I definitely recommend that you check out that pattern. I really like it. This is being knit on size 5 needles. It is the yarn is Lolo did it in the Angry Rhino colorway. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a triangle shawl, which is my favorite kind of shawl, the one that I wear the most of usually, so that's pretty great. I am looking forward to finishing that one for sure. Now, I've got one more almost finished object to share with you today. This is something that I took camping with me, and I finished it while I was camping, except I still have ties to add, and I still have to finish bits of it, but hopefully I'll be able to finish those here pretty soon. This is the angel face turban. I will put the info about that pattern up on the screen. But it is a sort of vintage style hat type object that will tie up at the front. If you have seen, there are other podcasters who have made one of these. I am really looking forward to finishing this up. I really enjoy the sort of vintage look of this pattern. It's kind of like a hat, but not quite. It has this wonderful gathered ruching in the back, which you can kind of see on the back side. You can sort of see how those are made. It's really, really cool. I really like the shaping for this. I do really like the eyelets. Those were really fun to make. This is Malabrigo sock, I believe. Yeah, Malabrigo sock. But I don't remember what the colorway name is. So it is Malabrigo sock. Obviously, I really like Malabrigo, and I really like their sock base. But yeah, so there is that one. I really, really like how that looks. So I hopefully will be able to finish the ties. I have quite a lot of yarn left though, so this will definitely be something that I use for another project. So that was all of my knitting. That was it. Strange. I really, really have been enjoying taking it easy with knitting projects, and testing other people's patterns for once has been pretty nice, especially to get away from where I've been kind of trying to design patterns lately. I've been enjoying my ability to get away from that for now. So, thank you so much for watching. If you are just here for the knitting content, my after content is very short. I've started school, is basically. I have spent a good number of hours in front of my computer instead of outside, which is unfortunate. I don't have any in-person classes, which is really nice. Yeah. It's been a pretty boring existence, though. I spend most of my time at my desk instead of going outside and doing things out there. So hopefully that means eventually I'll get some time to do some more knitting. I haven't really worked on my quilt, although I do have more of it done than I showed you last time, because I just showed you the squares last time, and I have put quite a lot of it together. I may end up doing a separate video to give an update on the quilt itself. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you are hanging in there, and I will talk to you all again very soon in my next video. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more content for you while I'm in Florida, and I'll be able to share either while I'm down there or when I return. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe and like my video, it gets my name out there a little bit more, that would be great. Also check out all of the rest of the shows that Rhinobot Studios is putting together. I'm also a part of a couple of others where most of them are audio podcasts, but if you are interested in writing fiction, we have a podcast called The World Builders Podcast, which is almost done with its first season, and we spend a little bit of time talking about world building and give a little bit of advice, as well as just have some fun talking about a fictional world. And then another podcast that I am a part of, it's called Eco Practical. There's only one episode. I will put links to both of these down in the description box. Eco Practical is more of a how to live a greener life, or more sustainable, if you can call it that, life on a budget, and which, yeah, basically that's it. So it is me and a friend of mine, and we just chat about how we have tried to reduce our waste by making small changes when we can. So if you're interested in those, I will absolutely link them down in the description box below. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!
This show is a member of the Rhinobot Studios family. For more information, including show listings, team member bios, social media links, and our community Discord, please visit rhinobot.net.